just to kind of give the audience some background here, Villanova fired their head coach at the end of the season, Colin Neptune. Kevin Willard, Maryland's now ex-head coach, came from the Big East in Seton Hall. Willard expressed, well, actually, even before that, Maryland knew Willard had some sort of interest in the Villanova job. He loves the Big East, really wants to go back. Had publicly made concerns about like the Big Ten travel situation, didn't like how his players had to go out west and play a couple of games on the West Coast, and really just wasn't a big fan of like them traveling cross country like they would in the Big Ten. So he was a Big East guy, really likes the Big East, and had expressed some interest in going back to the conference when the job had opened up. To really combat those interest from Coach Willard, Maryland offered to give Kevin an extension to make him a top 10 highest paid coach in basketball, up their rev sharing agreement for men's hoops, and a new influx of NIL. And this is all on top of a new practice facility that they're currently building solely for men's basketball. Right after that extension was offered, a couple days later, Willard had not signed that extension. So fans were still rumbling of like, hey, what's going on? Why haven't you signed this? We want to lock you up for a little bit. He went on his first press conference in Seattle during the first round, publicly trashed the university, the administration, the athletic director, publicly trashed the school right before the first round game, saying how Maryland's not up to par NIL wise. My team couldn't spend an extra night in New York over Christmas because the school wouldn't pay for it. The AD's on his way out, and just publicly like dissed the athletic director and said, hey, he's on his way out. He's going to take the SMU job, even before it was officially publicly confirmed that he was taking the AD job at SMU. So now with that, Maryland's without an athletic director. Coaching, the Villanova coaching search was heating up. They were expected to hire Little Patino, but then he took the Xavier job. So all sights were on Kevin Willard taking the Villanova gig. Now, he has repeatedly said, I'm not taking any jobs. I'm sticking with Maryland. He went on local radio and said this. He went on the press conference after the Colorado State win and said, I haven't really thought about it. Like, I'd like to stick with Maryland. My focus is on the Sweet 16. And then the week of the Sweet 16, which should have been a great time for Maryland sports, first Sweet 16 in 10 years. Program's never been higher. Just hit the buzzer beater. Derek Queen's talk of the town on McAfee. People are talking about the Sharps because it was I think the only buzzer beater in March. He's asked by the media saying, hey, you going to take the job or not? And then he goes on, deflects, gives his spiel on, hey, we're only focused on Florida. We're only focused on this. And then the night before the game, team dinner, he refuses to show up to the team dinner, skips out on team meetings, and just coaches the game half-ass. Right after the game, they ask him, hey, you gonna take the Villanova job? He's like, I haven't talked to my agent yet, haven't talked with my family. Fucking his wife, his kids have traveled with him from Seattle down to San Francisco. He's obviously stayed in the same hotel room. That reports out. Just, again, lying to the fan base. And then late Saturday night, it was either Saturday night or Sunday night, I forget what it was, around midnight Eastern time, report comes out, Villanova has signed Kevin Willard to become the new head coach of the Villanova Wildcat program, leaving Maryland without a head coach and without an athletic director, and we're already a week into the portal. So he's pretty much dissed the university, dissed the fans, the media, and fucked over the program for an additional year, which should have been another fun year of Maryland basketball, but it's not.
What a mess.
He's a scumbag. He's a cheap fuck. No one likes him, and I'm glad he's gone. He wasn't for Maryland, but he's a piece of shit. He's a coward. He should have just said, hey, I'm going to leave. This is our last ride. Good luck hiring a new coach, because now we're behind with recruiting. We're behind with the transfer portal, and our best players are now leaving. And our only signee, high school signee, has now decommitted and reopened his recruitment. So Maryland basketball is now fucked for the next year, maybe two.
Yeah. He's got some real nuts for just basically doing like, what is it, Richard Sherman? He just basically blazed the path. Dude, that guy.
Yeah. Scorched earth.
Again, like the worst timing to drop that news before your biggest tournament game. And maybe I'm reading too much into it. When I was watching Maryland play, they did look distracted. He looked, like you were saying, Coleman, half foot out the door. At a certain point, Maryland just started really kind of playing their own G ball, putting up a lot of shots and padding stats. And I think Queen only had, was it 4 rebounds? Like they were just getting killed on the boards. The whole thing was a mess. And I just feel bad for Maryland Nation, because they deserve better.
Yeah, I wasn't too, to be honest with you, I wasn't too confident even going into the game.
For sure.
The biggest thing with this team, Crab Five, amazing starting five, they lack depth. You get into any sort of foul trouble, you play a team that's deep, you're already your third game into the tournament. Another West Coast game, West Coast trip, you haven't slept in your own bed in over a week and a half. It takes a toll on you, so I didn't expect much. I had a lot more hope with Ole Miss specifically than I did with Maryland, even though it was a close, no, it wasn't a close, I take that back, it wasn't a closer spread. But Scumbag's gone. I hope Villanova rots in hell. I hope he rots in hell. The way he fucked over the program like this. But we weren't supposed to have a whole lot returning either. So, but what we do have returning has already entered the transfer portal. I think this coaching hire could be huge. But it's also worrisome of, like, what solid coach wants to go to a program that doesn't have an athletic director?